Hi, I'm Pastor Laura, and welcome to my table as we continue our series of table talks about family faith formation. Our scripture for today comes from 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 16. Rejoice always, pray without ceasing. When seeking to meet a goal or accomplish a task, the first question we think of is, where do I start? Sometimes we really thoughtfully consider and plan out, where am I going to start? Other times we just make decisions without even realizing that we had asked the question, where am I starting? Because we figure it out so quick. So where do we start with family faith formation and making it the norm for our families and our households? We start with prayer. In fact, I'm a firm believer that prayer is always where we start with anything that we want to do in life. We have taken for ourselves the name Christian, which starts with the word Christ. We take that name because we follow after Jesus. So how can we do anything apart from God? Or how can we do anything without God? There is this saying that humans plan and God laughs. Perhaps that comes from Proverbs 19:21, which says this: "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." To do things well, we need the help of God. The only way I know of and think of to include God in my plans, or to seek to be included in what God's plans are for me, is to pray. Our faith formation and the faith formation of our families also starts with prayer. And yes, prayer is going to take some time in the midst of a busy schedule. But one thing that is really helpful for me is to rethink what the definition of prayer is and what prayer can be. Prayer is communication with God. When we think of prayer, oftentimes we think of the Lord's Prayer or prayers that are part of liturgy and worship, or something that the pastor says on Sunday morning, or a blessing for our food at our table that we learned when we were children. Prayer isn't complicated, and it doesn't have to be complicated. I think sometimes we get too nervous and too afraid when we think about prayer, and we make it way more complicated than it has to be. Prayer is simply communication. Communication is talking and listening to others, but communication also happens through body language and activity, through writing and drawing and music and dance. We communicate in a multitude of ways every single day. And prayer is communication. So it doesn't have to be hours on our knees beside our bed before we go to sleep at night. And it doesn't have to be in church on Sunday morning. Or it doesn't have to be a formalized grace at the dinner table or something that only pastors do. Prayer can be journaling and telling God about our day. Prayer can be expressed through music and art that is directed towards God. Prayer can be like a happy dance of excitement when something amazing happens in our lives. Prayer can be a smile at the clouds, just thinking in our minds, I know that was you, Lord. Prayer can be a deep breath, or a sigh, or even a tear that we refuse to wipe away because we want God to see it. Prayer can be hugging our family members really tight and being thankful for them. It can be talking about the best part of our day together at the dinner table. Prayer can be jumping and shouting for joy when our favorite sports team scores to win the game, as long as we invite God to be present in the moment. I invite you this week to expand your definition and idea of prayer as communication and look for new ways for your family to pray together. Pull up one of the VBS videos on YouTube from this year and dance together to one of the songs as a family. Or hug and say a brief prayer of thanks before you leave your home for the day. Smile at the sky as you're coming home from errands or from work. Share your favorite part of the day with others through social media. As you strive to pray more this week, I know that you'll find that family faith formation is not that hard at all. It's no more difficult than gathering around the table. I look forward to you next time, and I'll see you around the table.